Welcome back. Well, the key indicator ridings are few and far between, but our Alice Funke of PunditsGuide.ca has them under intense scrutiny. Let's find out her picks for the 5 most interesting showdowns developing on the political landscape. Alice, I know you plow through this stuff night after night, and you know we were talking about regions. I said I want the sexiest fights going down here. Give us your 5 picks. Let's start on the East Coast.
Okay, well, I tried to pick some interesting ones with some storylines to them and people that your viewers might know.
Right.
And I'm picking Avalon in Newfoundland and Labrador. And if you recall, Ches Crosby was disqualified as the Conservative contender. And you look at the Liberal numbers in the Atlantic and you think, hey, that's a safe Liberal seat. They didn't count on Scott Andrews, who has been fighting quite a spirited campaign down there to retain his seat. And so it makes the complexion of that race really hard to call.
Well, just so people remind, Scott Andrews was a Liberal, got kicked out under some questions of harassment with women that were never really proven against him.
He was nominated as the Liberal candidate, but Mr. Trudeau relieved him of the nomination.
So he's running as an independent, and he's looking promising.
Well, he's actually running a very spirited campaign by all reports.
Wow, that would be interesting. All right, moving into Quebec, who do you see there that you like?
Well, I'm glad Mr. Lapierre mentioned the same seat. That sort of vindicates my my choice. But I picked Laurier Saint-Marie in central Montreal. Liberals are very strong in Anglo-Montreal, but this is Mr. Ducep's own seat. He won it 7 times. He lost it the 8th time. A riding poll the NDP released early in the campaign had Hélène Laverdière, the NDP MP, former diplomat, ahead by 30 points. Now, can Mr. Ducep make up the difference on his 9th try? And as Jean Lapierre said, had he been able to push out Mario Beaulieu like 2 weeks sooner, he could have claimed the nomination in Le Pointe-de-l'Île, which would have been a much better seat for him.
Wow. All right, we move into Ontario, the great battleground where all the leaders are circling this week.
I think when we look at the campaign election returns, the ridings in which the front-runners will have spent the most money will be Spadina Fort York, Olivia Chow, and Adam Vaughan. Long-standing, I would say, personal rivalry between the two of them to claim the mantle for the most progressive person on the left in downtown Toronto. It's been knock 'em down, drag 'em out. The fundraising emails have been amazing. And it's very hard to get people's attention who live in those big condos, which are being added all the time. So it's quite a race anyway.
Aren't there some local polls that show that it's still pretty much tied still there?
Yes, but there's some challenges with polling a downtown riding like that in order to draw a sample properly and get people at home. And who will vote and who won't, that's a challenge.
Let's go out to the prairies. What do you got for us on the prairies?
I want to ask, is 4-term Conservative MP Brad Trost toast?
Ooh, is he toast? Toast.
I mean, in Saskatchewan, we had the redrawing of the boundaries to make urban seats as opposed to rurban seats. You know, remember there was the pies and so on. So Saskatoon University is probably an NDP Conservative race with the Liberals coming on, and Liberals tend to do well in constituencies with universities, but the Brad Trost has had an unremarkable career, I would say, on the backbench.
Very social conservative, right?
And very socially conservative. And he's running against the professor of veterinary medicine. In fact, I think the dean of the veterinary medicine school at University of Saskatchewan. And for the Liberals is Claire Card, the former CTV Saskatoon supper time host. So, it's
CTV. Okay, we better cheer for her. Okay, the Battle of BC. That's where probably the election is going to be decided. What's happening out there?
Well, Vancouver South is a traditional Liberal Conservative swing seat. Wei Young is the first-term Conservative MP. They're part of their strong pitch to the Chinese community. She was caught on tape making some unfortunate comments about what intelligence agencies may or may not have known about the Air India disaster. and some other comments that led to that CPC Jesus hashtag. Liberals recruited a very strong candidate, Harjit Singh Sajan, and now the question for me is that is considered widely to be leaning Liberal. I want to know, will the Liberal strength continue on in the Chinese community in the riding south of the bridge from there in Richmond Centre, Steveston, Richmond East? Prime Minister was just in Richmond tabling his platform. The Conservatives have to keep seats like that if they're going to keep the government.
Very interesting. All right, Alice, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you.
Thank you.